Hello guys and welcome to today's video. I hope you guys are staying safe and doing well during these crazy quarantine times, and of course trying to keep yourself busy. But if you guys are struggling with keeping yourselves busy, I might have a little task and a little challenge that might get the creative juices flowing for you guys. So let's go ahead and dive in a little bit deeper to this video. So as you guys can tell from the title of this video, and probably the reason why you clicked on it, is because I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make this really cool and fun little Instagram carousel seamless swipe type effect with your photos. This is a really awesome idea if you have some photos left over from a recent trip or an event that you went to, or just some photos that you think would be really cool to collage together instead of posting separately and individually and just bulking up your Instagram. So let's go ahead and get into this new tutorial. So basically for the first step of this tutorial is you're just going to go ahead and open up Photoshop, and then once you have Photoshop open, you're just going to start selecting the size of the image that you want to make. And now this is all basically going to depend on the amount of swipes that you want to use for your Instagram and for the photos to have. So the longest possible post that you can put on Instagram vertically is 1080 by 1350 pixels. So to create the width for the correct amount of swipes and photos that you would use for the post that you're going to create is basically times 1080 by however many swipes you plan to have in the post. So this also depends on the amount of images you would be using and if you can actually make up that amount of swipes with the images that you have. So for example, creating a 2-post collage would be 1080 times 2, which is 2160 pixels. A 3-post collage would be 1080 times 3, which is 3240 pixels, and then so on and so on from there. Anyway, for this post, I decided to create it with a width for amount of 4 swipes. So the dimensions I'm going to be using is 4320 by 1350. So after you create the sizing of the canvas, you want to go up to view and then select a new guide layout, and this is where you're going to type in the amount of swipes that you're going to have. So in my case, I would be typing in 4 because I'm going to have 4 swipes in my post. Now once these guidelines are created and you can actually see where the swipes are going to be happening for the Instagram post, you can start importing your photos to create the flow and order that you want them to be. So even though for my post on Instagram I'm going to be having 4 total swipes, I actually decided to place 5 different images. But it's okay because it's going to be a collage and I'm going to be cutting these images up anyway, so it's going to look cool when they're over the swipe and when it's kind of merged together. So if you know that you want a certain amount of swipes, you can always cut the images to that according to the size. And for the next step, that's exactly what we're going to start doing. So when it comes to cutting up the images, I personally like to use the pen tool, which is P on your keyboard, as I found it to be super accurate. So just make sure that when you do finish using the pen tool on the area that you want to cut, you right click and hit make selection. If this doesn't work, it's okay. All you need to do is rasterize the layer so that you can delete the section that you want to delete. It's a really good idea to use the guidelines to make the cuts or close to them, as when you're on the post and swiping through on Instagram, it's going to look really, really fluid and like the posts are kind of merged together. So once you've cut all the images and created the kind of flow that you want the photos to have, you can start adding in little different effects and props that are going to add to the vibe that you're going for, or kind of like from the location or event that you were at maybe. It's just to add a little bit extra to the post and just to drag people in a little bit further. Of course, this is completely optional. I just love to do this to my posts, as it's just a little bit more creative fun for me, especially during these quarantine times. So since this collage that I created was from a recent trip down to Long Beach with my girlfriend, I wanted to find some props and artifacts that could add a little bit extra to the images, but also were in relation to the area that we were in and the vibe that that kind of area gives off. So what I ended up using in my collage was some coins with some symbols from Long Beach. I also added a sign of the little shop and eating area called Shoreline Village, and a sign of the Long Beach Freeway. I just got creative with these and just picked out little bits that really stuck out to me, and it's totally optional and up to you guys. I just thought that for people scrolling across it on Instagram and coming across the post, it might give them a little bit more reason to go and dive deeper into the post and spend a little bit more time with it. So now after you're happy with the props and little artifacts that you've added in, I like to give my photos a little bit of texture and roughness just to add a little bit more feel to the whole thing. So this is easy. You can just search up whatever vibe you're going for and then pick a sort of solid colored image and then go into add effects and then just make it lay and really blend into the image to make it look like the image has those sort of roughness and effects that the overlay would be giving it. So whether you're bothered about this or if you've added in some texture and roughness already, we can go ahead and get ready to export the image. But before we do this, we do need to slice our guidelines. So we need to come over to this tool here and then select Slice Guidelines up here. This just basically will cut the big image into the amount of images that we want separately for Instagram. Now after we have sliced the guidelines, we are ready to export. So let's go up to File, hit Export, and then hit Save for Web. But make sure you do come down here and press Select All Slices, so that will select all the slices in the photo to actually export. So now this part is also optional, but I do like to grab the exported images that I got from Photoshop and just give them final touches and run them through Lightroom just to make sure that they all have the same color and look similar in tones, so when swiping it doesn't look a little bit different. I can show you a little bit of an example how I messed up on one of my posts with this technique where I should have really made sure before I posted it. So of course, if you did the little touch-ups in Lightroom like me, go ahead and export that, and then once you have the exported images, you can just go ahead and either airdrop them or send them to your phone. Now once you do get the images to your phone from your computer, go ahead and get them ready to upload into Instagram. But when you do press on the first one, just make sure that you squeeze out and zoom out fully so that the whole image is showing, and then of course select the images in order, because that would be a little bit embarrassing for your collage. Now that is really it for the tutorial, but I did go ahead and make a few more examples of some collages that maybe could give you guys some inspiration for what you could do with these collages, how you could present them to different types of people, or what you could really do with leftover images that you might have from different shoots. So along with the Long Beach collage, I did make 2 other collages. I did make these 2 collages with the exact same steps that I took to make these ones. Now as you can see here, the first one I made is with some images I had taken from the restaurant where I actually work, Instagram. Now these images aren't the best quality just because they're screenshots from their Instagram, and of course this would be better if you did take the images yourself, but I did want to create something that you could really use for client work, or maybe it could inspire you to be like, oh, I have images from a shoot that I've recently done for someone like this, and then this is a new type of way that you could create something for their Instagram or different type of content for them. So now for the second example and the third in total of all the collages that I did make, I had some extra images left over from a recent shoot that I worked on for a spoken word with my buddy and co-worker Kyler Yamashiro. His Instagram will be down in the description of this video, along with a longtime friend since high school, Jamal. His Instagram is also down below. He actually did come up with the spoken word and this whole concept for this video. Again, huge thank you to you and having me there to shoot the behind the scenes and help out with that. That video will be dropping soon and there will be links all over for that, so keep an eye out for that, you guys. Anyway, from this shoot, I loved all the images and had so many left over that I didn't want to not do something with them, so I thought what a better way than to use them in this video and make collages. And I do actually plan on making more collages with these images, so go ahead and follow my Instagram down in the description to check those out too, coming soon. Now I'd love to know what you guys thought of the collages that I made. Just go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section down below. Now these were all just little examples of how I make my collages, but you guys can go ahead and get very, very creative with it. If you guys go ahead and look on Instagram and YouTube and anywhere else on the internet, you will definitely find this is a very, very popular thing to do, but it's also really, really fun, and everyone kind of has their own type of vibe with it and really how they like to do it. I've seen some people do really simple stuff to crazy overlaid different Photoshop, even video stuff. There's some crazy stuff out there. Just go ahead and dive deep into the Instagram hashtag. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video and it's maybe given you something to do during this whole quarantine and lockdown. If you guys actually do make any of these, I'd love to see them. So go ahead and tag me and at me at my Instagram, Daniel Tansley Media. It will be down in the description. Again, I would love to see what you guys create. Make sure you guys stay home and stay safe, and then subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you guys next time.